Hello, everyone. I'm Augusto Cianfroni. I'm from the Unilink support team. And now I will show you a demo of how you will interact with your client, um, with your buyer company, First Quantum, and how you will participate in the RFQ processes. So here we can see the start page of the Unilink platform. Now I will enter my username and my password. In this case, this is a user from the company called M. This is only for a demo. And I will log in the platform. The first page that we will see is this panel. And as a supplier, the first thing I will do is clicking on this button here, RFQ panel, to see all the RFQs that I have been invited to participate in. So here we have a sheet which shows us several columns. In this first column, we see the details of each RFQ. Here we have the name of the RFQ, the type of RFQ, if it's a material RFQ or a service RFQ. At first, Minera Panama will only be sending material RFQs. Then the name again of the RFQ, the buyer company, Minera Panama in this case, the organization number, which is the sector of the mining company from which they are requiring these items, and the RFQ number. Then in this column we see the start date. Sorry, I will change it to English. Okay, here we see the start date of the RFQ, which means the date from which you have the opportunity to place a bid for this RFQ. Then the closing date. So the closing date and time of this RFQ, the moment until which you have time to participate. Then the request status, the status of the RFQ from the buyer side. In this case, this one has already been published. And this is the RFQ's, the bid status. And this is from the supplier side. In this case, I will enter this RFQ, which is a new one. I haven't entered it yet. And I will show you how you will participate in the RFQ process. So we will enter this RFQ by clicking on this blue number, 800731. I click on it. And now we will see a detailed description of this specific RFQ. And the first thing I will want to do as a supplier is to scroll down to this tab, items quote request, to see the items that are required for this RFQ. So here we have the item number, the product code, the description of the item, the requested date, the amount or number of items required for this RFQ, the unit of measurement, the manufacturer, and some additional information that the buyer would have wanted to add to each item. Then in this tab, we can see any document that the buyer would have wanted to attach to the RFQ. So now if as a supplier, I see that I can place a bid for any of these items, I will go to this button here accepting the invitation. If not, we decline the invitation. So in this case, I will accept the RFQ. And now I will be able to draft my bid. So here again, we can see many tabs, but the tab that opens by default here is this one, which is quoted items. And I will scroll down here. And here I can see again the description of each item and the fields that I have to fill in order to place my bid. So now something really important here is that we will only fill in the fields of the items that I am going to place a bid for. So if I'm going to place a bid for item number 1 only, I will fill in the fields of this item. The fields that are framed in red are the ones that are mandatory that I have to fill in. So I will start filling in each field. The net unit price. This one is the currency. This one is the unit price. So let's say it's $15,000. So the total is a calculation according to the number of items required for this RFQ. In this case, it's 16 items times 15,000. It's $240,000. Then we have the unit of measurement. You can select the unit of measurement here. Then we can click on this button if this item has a guarantee. Then the delivery time, let's say 60 days. The delivery terms, let's say cost and freight, the Incoterm. And then we can add any comment to this specific item. So we click here and add a comment. Here we have the possibility to write a maximum of 2,000 characters. And also you can attach a document by clicking on the button that will appear right here. Here we can attach a document to this specific item. And if you want to attach a document to the whole bid, you can click on this button, new attachment, right here. If we have a lot of items here and we think that it will take us a lot of time to fill in each field on the platform, you can also export this table as an Excel file so that you can draft your bid on Excel if it is easier for you in that way. And then once you have finished drafting your bid on Excel, you can import the file again by clicking on this button. So let's say that I have already finished drafting my bid. I will place a bid only for this item and the others not. So I leave the other fields empty. And then I have to, well, we recommend that you always save changes once you have finished drafting your bid. Or for example, if you want to go on make coffee or anything like that, you will have to save changes before leaving your computer, because it is possible that when you come back, the page will have refreshed and you will have to fill in each field again. You will lose all the information that you have placed here. So we always recommend to save changes each time you have finished drafting your bid. So now I am ready to to place my bid. So we click on this button here, send RFQ. It will save it again and make a validation of the information. Okay, it's done. send RFQ, yes. And then I will see this page. So we have the same information that I have put here. And as long as we are before the closing date, we can withdraw our bid. So let's say that I have that the price has changed of this item. So I will click on withdraw bid. Here it asks me for a reason. I will say wrong price. Okay. So then I will be able to draft my bid again. And this is important only if I am if the closing date hasn't been reached yet. So let's change the price here. Let's put $18,000. And now I save changes again. Always remember to save changes. And now I come back to this tab here, quoted items, to send my bid again. So it will be saved and validated. And now I have already placed my bid. So now the buyer user will be able to compare the different bids sent by the suppliers, that this buyer company has invited to participate. Let's have a look at these other tabs that we have right here. We have the configuration. Here we can fill in these fields with information about the supplier that is drafting this bid. Then again, I can see the items with their details, the documents that the supplier has attached, that the buyer has attached to this RFQ, then some clarifications that we have made, and this is a chat, a questions and answers chat that we can use to ask questions to our buyer. And this is important also, all the questions that question, let's write here. All the questions that we send here will be all the suppliers that have been invited to participate in this RFQ will be able to see the questions that I write here. So all the suppliers that have been invited to participate in this RFQ, and also the buyer, of course. So if you have any private question that you want to ask to your supplier, you can see their email right here by clicking on this button, see RFQ request. And here in this panel, you will have the email of the buyer that has created this RFQ. Right here below this field of RFQ request notes, you will be able to see their email. So now if I want to go back to the first panel that we saw, we can click here on quotes and we will go back to the panel. So now I have already presented my bid for this RFQ. And let's say, okay, let's see this one. So I can show you the example of the email. Okay, right here in this button, see RFQ request. Here I can see the email of my buyer to ask questions about prices, or maybe to ask for the buyer to create a new RFQ, or if I haven't been able to place my bid because I didn't have time to reach the closing date, you can ask them to reschedule the RFQ for another date. And that would be all. Then if I am awarded an RFQ, let's see here so we can see. Okay, this one has been awarded, and this is the status of the RFQ from the buyer side. We can see that this one has already been awarded, and here the bid status from the supplier side tells me that I have won this RFQ. So it can happen that it can appear here as awarded, but here as not won. And this is because it has been awarded, this RFQ has been awarded, but to another supplier, not me. So in this case, I have won this RFQ. Okay. And let's go back to the first page. And here we have a search engine to look for specific RFQs. So let's say that I want to look for the number 594. And I click here on search, and then I will be able to see that specific RFQ. You can also filter the search by request type, and the bid status, the RFQ status, and the supplier user who is drafting this bid. And that would be all. And once I have been awarded an RFQ, let's see again the first panel. If I have been awarded an RFQ, I will be able to see the purchase order in this tab, PO panel. And here we will have the POs that have been sent to us.